Good afternoon from Indianapolis, Indiana, USA, everybody. I apologize for the misunderstanding for the time difference. So I totally sorry for for the time that we misunderstand each other. Anyway, I am so excited to be here. Heard a lot of great things that you and the students and the ISCA student do here as well. So thank you for inviting me to speak with you. And I have the honor to speak about impacts of supply chain technology on performance. It's been, the topic that seems like the student have interest in it. And I would like to introduce myself a little bit. My name is Jit Hinchman. I'm the founder of Supply Chain Advisor. I am based in Indianapolis, Indiana, USA. So I am originally from Thailand. So many years, and I first experienced supply chain management when I was working for Mattel. That when I first have exposed to it, and after that, I really enjoy the perspective and enjoy the application that I help organizations throughout my career. And here we are today talking with you about technology on performance. So we have a little bit of agenda that we talk about. Let's get started. It's already late on your end. So so agenda for today, we are going to define a common understanding. I'm sure you already know what supply chain and supply chain management or technologies are. So it's good to have the same understanding because we're gonna tie things together. That way you can see the picture, how is it involved and how it's influenced one another. We're going to talk about the role of technology in supply chain management and how technology enables supply chain transformation and bring about the digital supply chain and blockchain in supply chain that I think Yasmin was asking about that, and I just want to highlight it in there as well. And at the end, we'll do the summary of supply chain technology on performance, and we can open to Q&A at the end. So if you have any question, please feel free to ask. I love hearing from you. So let's have some common understanding. I'm sure that you understand that supply chain, if it is physical, it just simply mean a network of trading partners, people that, between company that trade with each other. Company have their suppliers and have their customer, and being linked with another, their customer also have their suppliers, and all those also have customers, those kind of things. Basically, it is the interconnected journey that raw materials, components, products, and services take until they reach the end customers. So that is supply chain. So supply chain management is pretty much straightforward. The knowledge of discipline to manage the flow of products and service through the trading network to fulfill customer demand. So technology is simple word. I don't even need to explain it to you. For the younger generation, they're pretty much familiar with the technology. Is an knowledge to help practitioners or achieving practical goals in business or improving living environment. And we see in industrial and in business and all that. So let's just make sure we understand the same thing. Now, when it comes to role of technology in supply chain management, so oftentimes people will refer as and innovation together because it needs something new. The role of innovation and technology in business is to drive growth and improve. So that's why it's pretty much like the source of survival in some ways when it comes to business, because you cannot do things like you did 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Things change, time change, and so as we as well, as all business, even knowledge, everything change. So supply chain management, as we know, is the backbone and competitive advantage in business. So I like to compare if the organization is a human body, right? Technology is the nervous system, like brain, the signal that's sent through the body. And supply chain management is the bone and connected tissue. It's holding together, it's gluing together, it link things together. So it has been throughout the history as well that it's been clear that logistic supply chain management also progress along with the business and technology, industrial technology. So I made this graph to link the understanding, the impact and relationship between industrial revolution. Now, how do we get that, related with logistic and supply chain management? Because industry have influenced the transformation in business, in logistics, and in supply chain as well. Just if you look at it, supply chain management, even though it's blend into the business operation, but it also have some part that is you can see that technology influence the business, and supply chain is supporting the business. It's also need to evolve as well. So it start long time ago. If I think Greek, starts since 300 BC. The European, famous Roman road was. I'm sure you might have heard about that. That is pretty much, if you can tell, that is the early age of industry age, right? It's just long before we ever have those kind of things. And at that time, Greek and Roman military officers titles as logistica, used to supply resources. Greek raw chromatics that discuss material flow. It's already started in the history time at the time. So, and you can see that, start from 1784 to 70, that is industry one. And fast forward until today, we are at the fourth industrial revolution. And you can see that progress of logistics, it start from, history age until now is logistics 4 and supply chain 4.0, which is what is by industrial revolution as well. It is a fourth industrial revolution. So when it comes to today, it's the technology that defined or listed in Industry 4.0 is pretty much the technology that influenced the transformation. There's digital technology, the blockchain, the artificial intelligence, AI, the machine learning, those kind of things are listed as the technology key enablers in Industry 4.0, that it had impact and transform the business and the world in general in many ways. So I just want you to know that this is not new. In the past, people also afraid that technology will take away the jobs and all that as well. It has been throughout. If you look back in the history, it has always progressed that way. But what happened is it's transformed some kind of work, some kind of job into different form of work and job because things change. I'm not saying that some jobs being taken away. Yes, it does, because the business need to progress in such a way that they can survive. Same thing as a human, right? So everything change. It's just during the transition can be difficult to perceive at that point. But I just want you to see the relationship between the technology and logistic and supply chain that is progress along the history. So looking at the role of technology in supply chain management. So a lot of time that supply chain want to have the full picture of end-to-end management, right? From raw material from the supplier up until end customers. So we want to have the visibility, and a lot of time it have many other elements that you need to it. When it comes to become the supply chain practitioner field, you need to have the ability to translate what you learn or what discipline or knowledge that you have, what it means in terms of operation or day-to-day practice. I bring out these elements of supply chain resilience because it point out the element that the key element needs. Part of this is the IT and the technology and all that as well. So you can see that, as a supply chain, we always start with customer demand, right? And after that, you have the organization that have people, that have culture, that have governance, infrastructure, those kind of things that also have the IT, the information technology, the platform nowadays, the cloud technology, those kind of things would blend into each other to create the supply chain capability that you want to progress into the future. So that's the role of technology to help supply chain transform into the ideal state that we want to be better, to be almost like see all the information, have full visibility, and know where the package or the goods or the products and the service are in terms of movement throughout the network. So we want to progress to that point. Now, I don't. Not every company have that kind of capability. You need to know that some companies still have manual supply chain because they are capable that they don't have the need to turn into digital just yet because their operation is too small and they have the team that can manage it manually. And some of the business don't even want to transform, because regulation that they need to bear into it. For example, the shipping industry or logistics, they still need to do manual paper because some countries are still require the paperwork they need to submit in order to clear the custom thing. So they need to do what the requirements required of them, and also the willingness of transform as well. So, but we know that the trend we move towards the digital supply chain. Anyone have any? One hear me just fine. So, okay. I don't know if I lost any connection or not, but because I don't see anyone, so I'm gonna continue unless you tell me otherwise.
Yeah, it's very,
Okay.
very, very impressive, Jet.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I just want to check that I lost connection on.
No, no,
Appreciate it.
we are listening carefully and enjoying this very. It's really, hitting the contemporary issues in the supply chain, and I think all of us should go deep and go further in each one of these technology examples, because no one can survive in the business without applying maybe two or three applications as you just listing them in this slide.
Perfect. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay.
Welcome, welcome.
Okay, we're going to continue to talking about the role of technology in supply chain management again. So just like we mentioned before, the technology set that identified in the 4.0, especially technologies have influenced the supply chain management, such as Internet of Things, big data and analytics. We are pretty much advanced in terms of supply chain when it comes to advanced analytics. So you can see that we are more advanced than any other industry, really, if you it, because pretty much supply chain need that data to provide visibility. It's the data and information that grab those reflect the picture or the performance that we can see, look, analyze into it, right? But then not every company have good and clean data. Some companies still have with fragmented system along the age that the company grow, so they still need to unify that data and clean it up, those kind of things. 3D printing, it happened many years ago, but we can see more now that how it impact the supply chain, especially in manufacturing sector. Some spare parts items, if the small machine or we understand that may not be too complex, but if you think about or airplanes or rocket equipment. So those are the things that sometimes it have a lot of complexity, and it add into it. It takes lead time to produce each of those components, right? But some areas such as maybe military or right now, the rescue mission at the Turkey, or the war in Ukraine, those kind of things. You cannot wait for the supply chain to trace back into raw materials and all. 3D printing come into term that they can serve those kind of area by printing the element that they need, the parts that they need, military itself, if they need they need the spare part in the area that cannot, the logistic or supply chain cannot approach it because of the war zone or something, those kind of things. It can be I just want you to see the role of technology in supply chain management, how it transformed the supply chain, or how supply chain need to those kind of need, the business need as well. So you can see that when you look in term through the supply chain lens, right, when it comes to 3D printing, what it does, if you miss out or spare part that is important, if you have 3D printing capability, you can print it out and it shorten the lead. Instead of being 3-4 months, you can do it in a few days or in a matter of hours now. So I don't need to give more example for you in terms of 3D printing. We see its capability. Same thing with advanced autonomous robotics. We can see that in warehouse. We can see that in risk, here and there. Is certainly advanced in such a way that it can help. You can tell the difference. Some warehouse that don't need or don't have the autonomous robotics to help them sort and pick and pack and send out the package through the distribution center. It certainly look different from the one that I would say still do manual process. Just the cleanliness itself, or the organization, you keep it neat and clean because you need to robots and those kind of things. Is certainly you can tell the difference. I can say that if you have the capability to invest in those, it will certainly help. But if not, you're going to need to start from where you are. And you can see that technology and supply chain play, helping one another. So smart sensors is also the same thing. You can see if we apply into on supply chain and logistics, you can see, even just the truck that have the temperature control, that they need to monitor those, and smart sensor become, something that used in logistics and supply chain as well. Augmented reality, that blockchain, that Walmart have pilot system that successfully apply blockchain technology to trace the mango slice. It used to be, when it come to food supply chain, if we have something that is that you sell on the retail, if you can identify which box, out of 100 box, maybe just 10 of them that contaminate with something that is dangerous or food poison, you can just throw out those 10 bucks. If the other nine is not contaminated, you don't need to throw it away because the waste, right? You also save people life if you know which box that is actually contaminated and which box is clean. So blockchain trace back within 2.2 seconds, in the retail store, in the US retail store, trace back to which mango that is contaminated and come from where. It tell all information that you need, instead of compared to the traditional manual trace back is 6.5 days. It's almost a week. you know um, you can you can you can say that it traces back faster than how we think or we finish the sentence, right? So the advanced technology have in supply chain management. So I just wanted you to see that point. Cloud computing, we know that is also progress. Well, energy storage is pretty much needed. It doesn't always mean technology. Some ancient method also do that as well. But when it comes to apply innovative ways, we can use the resource more efficiently and more smartly, and reduce costs and all that as well. AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, pretty much almost. Machine learning is another kind of, it's under the AI, right? Because it's straightforward, just like its name. Is try to teach machine or teach the system to mimic the human intelligence. So machine learning is also a subset of AI, because it have the ability to learn from whatever data they have, or whatever data they feed in, right? So not only it have the ability to learn, and it have ability to generate something as well. So from what they learn, human interface, it will certainly come up, because we need to be able to work with a machine, or supply chain management. The next generation, the future generation, would certainly require new skills, because supply chain is transforming, um, just like industry and also business as well. Cybersecurity is a big thing. The more and more the technology, digital technology, that transform the manual process into the digital process, and the data that generate, we have more connection to the virtual world, and that comes to increase the importance of cybersecurity, because not everybody know that they may not intend to leave the channel or their device open and someone hack into it, or some people got hacked without even hacked. So it's certainly important. Those kind of thing is kind of progress along as well. Quantum computing is certainly are there as well. So it will certainly transform the business and the supply chain in such a way that its technology doesn't shift in just short time like we've seen before. Now it shifts even faster than in the past. So the new generation of supply chain professional will certainly have those kind of skill. I would say they learn faster, because some of the students out there, they were born during the digital era as well. So to sum it up, technology has a role as enabler to help the transformation from traditional linear supply chains into the total supply chain network integration. Now, what I mean by that, it's not that traditional supply chain is linear, more of the, because we try to simplify the process, right? Linking between the raw material, how it flow into the manufacturing, to the distribution center, and then deliver to the customer. But the need to see the new model to reflect the reality of the transaction or the flow of the product and service need to change from linear to integrate. view as well, because that's how it happened in reality. The transaction, someone buying something, some company buying raw materials or parts for manufacturing something at their plant. They don't buy just one or two. They buy from many countries. They buy from many other suppliers. The transaction happen back and forth, not just one way or linear as the traditional model. So just like I mentioned before, that technology is to help the supply chain transform into the state that we want them to perform better, right? If you look at the graph over here, food supply chain, just like linear in the past, would just, the farmer, aggregator, from seller, and then retail at the end. That is still today, today's supply. But in the future, with the application of blockchain or digital supply chain network, everybody that involved in the network the same information. And let's say information change from maybe the vegetable or fruit that from one supplier with lacking of the enough inventory, or they facing the drought, they cannot produce as much as they could. The information could share instantly, not just to their customer, but also to the logistic provider or retail at the end as well. So those kind of information will certainly share more when the supply chain transform into digital. So I don't know if we need to go through this, but this is pretty much what the supply chain try to transform into. Some supply chain has already part of their supply chain into digital supply chain. Now, when I'm talking about supply chain transform into digital supply chain, is not, I don't mean it's just the physical network only. I mean that, you still have physical flow of the product and service that people, hand the product or deliver the product in person. But I meant by digital supply chain is the use of technology, some process from manual process into digital form, like, warehouse receiving the components or the parts. They also, once they receive it, the data also reflect into the system, the IT system or database system that show that, okay, we received the item, as you said, from the physical network. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Digital supply chain, just like we mentioned earlier. This one is the definition that ASCM author and researchers gave. It's like defined as the supply chain that develops and applies technology to automate, integrate, and illuminate all processes, including data capture, communication, analysis, decision making, transaction, and transformation. So we can safely say that digital supply chain leverage technology, digital technology, and data to improve process and overall business. So that's pretty much the future of supply chain. So some have already transformed. So this I was asked about the blockchain chain, but we talked about this before. So if you don't understand what is blockchain is basically it's internet-based technology, with the ability to publicly validate, record, and distribute transaction in immutable encrypted ledger that record every changes and share across partners in the network in real time. Now, if you think about that, just that capability, that supply chain would be good to have that, because it provide visibility. If the suppliers, maybe we order something from Egypt, something from China, and along the way, after we send the product into, hand our product to the logistics, and logistic, they have the blockchain that can see whoever got the hand onto that container, right? If the blockchain can apply that, can trace, can see that it's some the container or not, if they open the container or not, those kind of things. It certainly will come to help in the application in supply chain management. It will provide traceability and provide transparency that majority of supply chain now have or face, and increase efficiency as well. But that said, today most supply chains operate without blockchain. In it's if you think about it, it sounds like the characteristic should help the supply chain management to progress into the capability or performance that we want them to have. But why blockchain is not progress towards that yet? Because in order for anything to develop or to be accepted in the common common use, in the public use more, it needs to have the foundation that help the technology to progress. And you need to have people that provide that service, and also people need to be able to trust, right? You need to be able to trust that it actually provide the safety they promised they would. Now, when it comes to blockchain, crypto currency is also another form of blockchain technology. So if people still can hack into the cryptocurrency, then just people would just need to be careful that is actually will save the data in the supply chain network, right? Because that is something that not everyone want to share all the data. They need to protect their trade secret or confidentiality. You cannot share all of that, and they even have company might even have policy that some part of some data they cannot be shared. So those kind of thing, it's still, I would say, the barrier or the challenge that why it prevent the blockchain to become more acceptable in supply chain management. And the cost itself is still not clear. It still doesn't have many players that have capability to provide the blockchain technology that can safely and securely like the technology try to do. But the feature itself is certainly promising. It certainly can be applied into supply chain, like they said it would. And the pilot have been using it, and it show result, and it's improved the supply chain performance. It improved traceability, just like Walmart partner with IBM with their blockchain technology and all that, and some other companies as well. But that said, they have what? Need to invest. They have resource and have the people to take care of it and to manage the project. But it's not it doesn't have the cost efficient when you want to invest into it. So I hope that you understand what I'm trying to say, that you cannot use a technology which is too expensive and it doesn't produce return on investment in such a way that make your business thrive. So I would say that that's why it's not become public acceptance yet. So this is a summary that we divide a common understanding, just simple term, and the role of technology in supply management, and we can safely say that technology is enable supply chain transformation and achieve the performance that actually help with the business to grow and improve efficiency. and we talk about digital supply chain and blockchain in supply chain as well. So thank you so much for your time today, and I hope that you learned something. And if you have any question, let me know.
Hey,
Stop sharing
no,
now.
Thank you,
it
Ms.
was
Most interesting and more any presentation that good and give us more information about important topic like blockchain and supply chain. And there is a question, Noor.
Hello, Miss Jit. I want to ask
Okay.
a question about does cyber security have a types?
Um, about cybersecurity, you said?
I think she
Yes.
means there are certain types of cybersecurity.
Yes.
Well, certainly it's increasingly important. So it is something that the new generation, the next generation of practitioner will need to put um, knowledge and understanding into it. Because if you see, 5 years, 10 years from now, a lot of digital supply chain will become more digital, right? And the privacy is already hard enough without the AI, at the age of AI, to be more progress. And now it's become even more difficult because AI is certainly in practice more, and how the business or even individual will protect their privacy or trade secret or core capability that they don't want to share with the world. How would you do that? And supply chain is certainly have the long range and have a lot of that um, the cybersecurity need to tap into it. So once the supply chain compromise its safety, it's no longer trusted, right? The quality of the safety system is can no longer is gonna safeguard the ecosystem anymore. So you need to at least have some kind of understanding of cybersecurity and data security. Those kind of things. You should even your school doesn't have capability. You should put into it. A lot of class provide or Coursera, those kind of things. Educate yourself. You need to familiar yourself with what you can do in terms of being a supply chain practitioner in that area. Did I answer your question?
Yes. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much for such an informative session. And I would love to say that me as a student, I'm very, very interested in the digital transformation. And I'm really interested in research that is related to blockchain specifically and implementation in the Egyptian market. And I actually had a startup or a business idea that is correlated with blockchain. So that was so informative. And also quantum computing when it comes to network systems. There's a lot of research papers about that, and it shows us the importance of integrating technology with supply chain and how can that efficiently and effectively develop our operations and help us to improve. So that was wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. So it's very late on your end, right? Must be what, 10 o'clock?
It's okay. So for our last round, does anyone of you guys have any questions? Any questions left?
Fall asleep.
I don't think that we have any questions left. I think we'll wrap it up. We collectively thank you for being here with us today and accepting our invitation. And all of us as students, faculty members, and our dean are very very happy to have such a lecture, informative lecture. I'd like to thank all our guests, students, and all attendees for attending one of our brilliant seminars. And thank you all for being here. See you in the next seminar.
Thank you so much, and make sure you're doing great in school, and also that make sure that you know your role. You are the younger generation. You're supposed to bring in innovative ideas, technology that we, all company can learn from you and learn with each other, right? So don't underestimate your own impact. Even though technology is important, the most important thing in supply chain is people. People is actually the one that provide visibility and provide a performance. Don't be afraid of technology. Use it as a tool. And again, thank you for having me. And I can see, everybody is eager and all that. Keep up your great work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.